Hello again, folks. For those of you who might have missed last week's webinar on digital marketing, my name is Madeline Taylor, and I'm going to be walking you through the basics of social media today, specifically the things you will need or want to know as a small business owner or an employee interested in leveraging social media for your business. I'm the owner, creative director, social media manager, lead designer, photographer, etc. for my own business, Madeline Taylor Creative Studio. And because my business is a one-woman show, I completely understand how overwhelming it can feel to manage the administrative and financial aspects of business ownership, plus the stuff that actually makes your business a business, aka the tasks, projects, and people that make you money, and also be the person in charge of marketing your skill set and your business. It's a lot. So my goal for today is to help guide you through the process of picking the right platforms for your business, understanding the value of those platforms, how to build a strategy for your social media process, as well as some content creation tips and tricks. When I'm not moonlighting as a brand designer or a webinar host, I am working as a social media specialist for a medical and recreational cannabis company in Moncton. And over many years of working in social media, I've learned a few things about the industry. The biggest takeaway, sadly, is that it's all too easy to burn out. So, I'm dedicating a significant portion of this webinar to what I like to call social media wellness, because it's something that I wish was communicated to me before I experienced my first burnout due to overextending myself online. You get to learn from my mistakes. Before we get into the learning, I'm going to cover some housekeeping notes. This seminar will be an hour and 20 minutes-ish of information and will include a 10-minute break for you to take a breather, grab yourself a tea or a coffee, or whatever you need to do to comfortably learn until the end of this session. Some time set aside for practice exercises and a short Q&A at the end of each section. If you have a question that doesn't get answered in the time allotted for questions, or if some of the lessons here bring up a question related to last weekend's session, please send me your question in an email and I will include it in the Q&A expanded email that I was talking about, which will answer all the extra questions from both this webinar and the digital marketing webinar in one place. So that Q&A document will be sent out to all attendees in the days following this last webinar. As I mentioned last week, part of rural life is internet that can be less than satisfactory. So if you are booted off the webinar, lose connection, or having technical difficulties at any time, please don't stress. The webinars will be uploaded to YouTube and can be watched at your own convenience, pace, or just whenever you have the time and the bandwidth. Every person who attends the webinars will receive a digital package of simple notes, no frantic information scribbling required, and a free resource list that will help you integrate some of this information into your business. The resource packet and notes are in a Google folder that was shared with you. And that being said, please feel free to take notes if that's how you learn best. I'm going to do my best to make sure this webinar includes enough information that makes it worthwhile, but won't overwhelm you. Social media management can be a full-time job. My weekly 9-to-5 schedule can attest to that, and is often one of the jobs in a company where the employee works outside standard hours. Social media is 24/7 and it is constantly evolving, so I'm going to commit to being real with you, sharing the stuff that is going to help you and your business the most, and taking this at a pace that won't overwhelm you. Like most things in the digital sphere, you could probably do an entire degree on social media and still feel like there is stuff to learn. So just like last week, everything I speak about today will require you to have basic computer literacy and knowledge of the concepts behind the basic social media platforms, so Facebook, Instagram. That being said, if you aren't up to speed, no worries. I will include some great resources to bring your knowledge base up to where it should be in the free resource packet. I've shared videos in that packet that will teach you how to set up accounts for the social media channels we discussed today and the basics of each platform. As always, if you have any questions after the webinar or sometime in the future, please feel free to send me an email at hello@madelinetaylor.ca. Alrighty, so let's get to it and get into some social media education. To begin, I'm going to share some interesting statistics with you that might convince you that social media is crucial to small business success if you didn't already believe it. 57% of people are more likely to buy from a brand they are following on social media, and around the world, 47% of internet users ages 16 to 64 spent more time on social media in 2020 than they did in 2019. We also know that those users aren't just mindlessly scrolling. E-commerce sales are on a similar upward trend as well. Obviously, this research only further highlights the value of social media for small businesses, which is why we're all here today. Let's go over the main social media platforms. These are individual channels or the profiles that you update under your business name that are available to you and might be beneficial for your business. The channels that I will be referencing the most today are Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. But know that there are more social media platforms to choose from. New ones pop up every day, and this list might look very different in 5 years' time. Of course, you do not have to be active on all of these channels, and in fact, I strongly advise you to only choose 1 or 2 platforms to invest in, unless you're in a position to hire a marketing professional, a freelancer, or a social media agency. Social media has proven to be one of the best tools out there for digital marketing. From free accounts to paid advertising, social media is the perfect way to increase the visibility of your business, show the world what you can do, and if executed well, gain a loyal fan base of followers. For those of you working in the hospitality or travel industry, instead of a product or service-based business, the same strategies I reference in this webinar will work for social media will also help you stand out on review-centered website platforms and booking websites like Airbnb, Booking.com, etc. with some small adjustments. Here's an overview of the 5 main social media sites and which markets they best serve. With this in mind, you can decide which platforms will reach your target audience through digital marketing and direct your resources to where they will make the most impact. First up, Facebook. The oldest social media site still in widespread use today, Facebook is a far-reaching platform that has users all over the world. Businesses can choose from a variety of options, including professional pages, paid post promotion, and native advertising. As I mentioned last week, Facebook's reach is so expansive that some small businesses choose to just have a Facebook page and not have a website. While I truly believe that your own website is always a good investment, it's a testament to the power of Facebook's audience. Facebook, with 2.5 billion monthly users, is the face of mass media, and that's why so many businesses use it to share photos, advertise, host contests, publish news, and live stream video. So just remember, Facebook is a pay-to-play platform, and what that means is organic posts, so that's your regular updates, won't get seen by too many people without paid promotion, so you sort of need to come with a budget for paid advertisements. To get the most out of Facebook ads, you want to start small and be specific about the audience you're trying to reach and their interest. Then add in a budget and a time frame. Once you see the results, you can adjust your creative assets and your spending. If your ideal clients fall into any of these groups, Facebook is a must. So those groups are seniors, so anyone who is 55 plus. Facebook is growing with this demographic as it's where they can see pictures of their grandchildren and their families. Next up is foreign markets. Unlike other social media sites, Facebook is used pretty much universally all over the world. It's especially common in the Middle Eastern countries and Europe, though less common in Asia. So if you are an e-commerce company, Facebook is definitely where you want to be. The next group that Facebook is great for is the small niche market. So that's probably most of you. Facebook is home to many groups where people of unique interests congregate. If you own a small niche business, Facebook might have an entire group of potential customers waiting for you to appeal to. From my experiences so far in Albert County, I think Facebook is a really popular choice here, and there are many local Facebook groups that are super active. It's common to see statistics that show Facebook is a declining platform, but I believe that there has been a resurgence of Facebook use, even among age demographics 18 to 35, because of the pandemic, since people are trying harder to connect with loved ones virtually. Facebook also has a lot of features that will be super helpful for small businesses, like the Business Studio, which allows you to manage your Facebook and your Instagram accounts from one desktop or mobile app. So Facebook is certainly a channel that you don't want to sleep on. Second only to Facebook, Instagram has a relatively large following and has been around for several years now. Instagram's demographics are starting to become more and more diverse, seeing its 55 to 65 age category expand exponentially in the last year. Instagram's primary audience is millennials and teens, but Instagram's international following is similar to that of Facebook. The distinguishing factor on Instagram is its reliance on pictures and videos. To be successful on this platform, you need to produce high-quality images and relatable or entertaining video content. Instagram is also breaking into the e-commerce space, which is something new that they're moving into, which allows you the ability to create a store through your Instagram business account. This can be difficult for many small businesses, but it's worth it in the end. And I'll be sharing some tips on how to produce high quality content on a budget later in the seminar. Like Facebook, Instagram offers comprehensive paid advertising options. So Instagram is essential for the following groups. Millennials, so that's me. By far, the largest population of Instagram users are people under the age of 25. If that's your target market, Instagram is a must. Next group that's super active on Instagram is women. So statistically, women are much more active than men on Instagram and are more engaged followers. If your product is unique to women, this platform is the perfect place to promote it. And I'm going to mention this platform, although I doubt any of the businesses here today would find it useful, but that platform is LinkedIn. Used more for personal social media to network and host resumes, as well as business-heavy updates for publicly traded companies or businesses with a large staff, Instagram is a great way to connect with other businesses and professionals. It's an older platform that relies less on media content and more on text-based updates. While LinkedIn is a great place to form connections and find employees, it's not the best platform for large-scale marketing or gimmicky campaigns. It is, however, perfect for B2B or business to business. We talked about that last week, small businesses and niche markets. So if you're targeting these groups, LinkedIn is your best bet. Businesses, if your services are B2B, LinkedIn is a great place to promote them. Unlike other forms of social media, its primary purpose is the business connection, so companies will be on the lookout for businesses and services like you. The next demographic that is on LinkedIn is high-profile people. So some small businesses directly serve executives or high-profile people. Maybe you are an online assistant. If that's you, a LinkedIn profile is absolutely necessary. It shows that you are serious, professional, and established, ready to work with the best of the best. The next social media channel is Twitter. So Twitter is where people often go to find out the latest information and news in real time. Many businesses also use it as their primary customer service platform. So if you aren't about the negative critiques, then I would suggest just avoid Twitter altogether. Just remember, it's all public, so don't get into a fight online. Make sure your tweets include photos or a video so they stand out in the feed. Twitter is a good platform for marketing to younger audiences and sharing updates about your business. For example, our chocolate chip cookies are sold out today, or we are closed today due to weather, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Stay safe. The one catch to using Twitter is the word limit. You only have a few characters to inform your audience of your products, so you'll have to develop some serious copy editing skills. I also recommend using URL shorteners like bit.ly, which can help you include URLs in your post at a lesser character count. The last two social media platforms I want to touch on are kind of special, and they're definitely up-and-comers in the social media sphere. And those two platforms are Pinterest and TikTok, which are, like I said, new to the media scene, but they do pack a serious punch. These platforms can be game changers for small businesses and offer the benefit of the chance to go viral, which, as we mentioned last week, can totally change the game for you. TikTok was a platform that I referenced last week while discussing the benefits of owned and earned media, since it allowed one of my personal channels to get over 250,000 views on a video. TikTok lets users create off-the-wall videos, often lip-synced to popular songs and decorated with augmented reality features, GIFs, and other doodles. Brands can participate in challenges or just engage with their audience, but before you start posting on TikTok, it's important to talk to your customers to see how they're using it and if they're using it. And it might be a good idea to talk to your kids or your grandkids as well, because they're definitely on it. Used well, TikTok is an incredible way to share authentic content and updates that are relevant to your business, the experience of being a business owner, and all the funny, special, or emotional moments along the way. Here's an example of a small business that has used TikTok to boost their business during a pandemic. Freya and Alex founded Alexander Clementine, a clothing brand which makes underwear from seaweed 2 years ago. They've only been on TikTok since this past January, but have already seen their sales surge. Freya said that before moving on to TikTok, they made a few daily sales, but after advertising through the app, they would make enough sales to pay in one day to pay rent for a month. So, pretty awesome. This bump in sales enabled the pair to operate their business from an office much sooner than they expected. She explained that their Instagram following also doubled as users on TikTok would follow their other social media pages. Freya is a self-confessed TikTok addict and would regularly look at other small businesses on the app. She enjoyed watching people unwrap their orders, which is something that's common among small business TikTok, and decided to produce content of herself wrapping up her customer orders. A perfect example of how TikTok is a great channel for learning from other creators and small businesses, and then taking part in trends by applying them to your own business. Evidently, TikTok has taken off in a big way, exploding in popularity during a global pandemic, which saw so many of us stuck inside, scrolling on our phones endlessly, looking for things to buy or distract ourselves from the dumpster fire that has been 2020. So consumer trends that are becoming more popular include self-care, fitness, sustainability, and preference for small businesses. So it's very small business heavy. People want to support small businesses because they recognize that, behind a small business is just a regular person who just wants to provide for themselves and their family. TikTok provides the perfect platform for these kinds of brands to advertise themselves at no cost, reaching an audience of thousands of potential consumers. So moving on to Pinterest. Pinterest is great for anyone interested in taking or investing in quality images, whether that be photography, graphics, or video. And Pinterest started out as a digital scrapbook, but these days it's more like a virtual mall. So people visit Pinterest to find aspirational images about fashion, decor, lifestyle, beauty, and entertainment, as well as do-it-yourself projects. One of the main benefits of Pinterest is the image you use points back to the source, so it can be a good driver of traffic to your website. Another example of that owned media we talked about last week. Pinterest offers visual search, which surfaces images related to what your customers are looking for and promotes pins to help your brand get discovered at the right moment with intent. So with 300 million users around the world, Pinterest is a visual discovery tool that helps people to find and do the things that they love, from what they do for dinner to planning a home renovation. What this means is that people come to Pinterest with an open mind, which makes it an effective place to reach people while they're still considering their next buying decision. In fact, 97% of the top searches on Pinterest are unbranded, which leaves plenty of space for all businesses, whether you're a small business or you're in sort of a niche market. This visual element of the platform is essential for helping brands tell a story and connect with consumers through their entire journey, so they can help people turn their dreams into decisions. So searches for business motivation increased almost 200% during the last year, which means that Pinterest is a source of inspiration for some entrepreneurs to launch their business, and for others, it's a tool to make them grow. One example is Inkbox, which is a Canadian temporary tattoo for adults company that has used Pinterest as a great tool for marketing. Tyler and Braden Handley noticed a gap in the tattoo industry between permanent tattoos and sticker tattoos. The brothers decided to create Inkbox, a Toronto-based company that develops semi-permanent tattoos that last about 8 to 18 days, so customers can test the design out before invoking the needle. Because Pinterest is a popular tool for researching tattoo designs, Inkbox is able to reach customers in search of inspiration at the beginning of their tattoo journey, and you can apply the same thought process to your business. Pinterest has helped the business to grow and has increased their reach to more than 10 million monthly profile visitors, which is crazy. Their digital marketing lead stated in an interview, A lot of platforms can be intrusive, but Pinterest is not. People don't see our brand as advertising on Pinterest, and organic is big for us, so that's organic interaction. That's something to highlight. In a world where organic reach is diminishing and where you have to pay for anyone to see your content, Pinterest still allows our content to reach people organically. So in layman's terms, Pinterest allows small businesses to authentically and organically connect with audiences who are already searching for your product or your service. Like TikTok, Pinterest isn't a selling platform like Instagram or Facebook, but they are excellent at building connection, brand recognition, and directing your ideal clients to your owned channels, whether that be your Instagram page, which might have an e-commerce shop on it, or a website. That was a lot of information, so let's check back to answer any questions that might have come up. Okay, so does anyone have any questions after going through some of the platforms that might be available to you as a small business?
I was wondering if people don't have questions, if actually everyone could sort. I think there's a bit of a conversation here to have moving forward about what you want to use and the quality of the content, or at least the frequency of the content. So this is a gap, I'd say, in the region. We may have a good presence on Facebook. We might have it on Instagram, but like, I especially think for some of the travel that you're going to get from New Brunswick, I really think, Destination NB and things like that on Instagram have created a very large local following that maybe we're not all tapping into very well.
Yeah.
I would encourage you. I think Facebook's quite active in the county, and I think that's a great tool. You can have a Facebook business page and get away with not having a website, I think. But Instagram's pretty critical. I think especially for some of you with art that you could, if we don't have the summer that we want to have, can you use some online selling tools to help supplement things, or use some of those tactics even twice a year, something for yourself? I thought the Instagram selling piece that you went through was really interesting for that.
Yeah, so Instagram has recently rolled out a new feature where if you have a business profile, which I would definitely recommend for anyone who's setting up an Instagram, that you can now sell through your Instagram as well. So yeah, Alex, you're totally correct. If you're a product-based business, then Instagram is the perfect platform. That being said, if you're a service-based Instagram, or if you're a service-based Instagram, if you're a service-based business, Instagram is still really great for you because you can really do some of that value sharing through Instagram, and kind of take an educational approach and kind of give people like the extra light version of what you can provide your actual clients, and kind of use that as a way to engage people and get them interested in the full services that you can offer. Services being, if you're a restaurant, post the behind the scenes of like what you do, how you source your ingredients. The people who are in your kitchen, people are super interested in kind of seeing, all the little pieces that come together to make a business functional.
You suggested having a website for a small business.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're selling through Insta, would you still recommend that? So as a salon owner, I have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. Website is far beyond me, but I have a Square free web store or whatever it is. I cannot manage all of these things personally. So when you say it's suggested and you look more credible having a website, if I'm able to sell on Instagram, would you still say that, or would you say one or the other?
I would say that, so Tammy, you run a hair salon, correct?
Yeah.
So it would depend on your selling. Like, I would say that for you, like, selling might not actually be the best like use of resources for your time, like for you, right? Because you want to get people into your salon, and that's when you do the selling, right? So for you, I would suggest that you can use Facebook, like a business Facebook profile, to kind of convert
Right.
people and bring them to your website. And that website can potentially, Squarespace is a great platform. I love Squarespace. I would say it's one of the best website platforms that you can have as a small business. So
But it doesn't work with my iPad. So I need to get a different tool to be able to utilize that.
Really? Okay, because maybe we should connect, just because
Okay.
I use my iPad. It's not right here, it's on the table, but
Okay.
I use my iPad all the time to make adjustments on my website. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe you send me an email and maybe I can like kind of walk you through on a call or
For
something
sure.
like that. Yeah, because that's one of the biggest benefits actually of Squarespace, is that if you're needing to make a quick adjustment, like let's say something happens, you want to raise your prices, or you realize that there's a typo on your website, you can go in through your mobile app and you can make adjustments like natively through the phone or through
Okay.
the tablet. Yeah, the app for Squarespace is really great, but we're getting off
Yep.
track.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's connect about that, because I think I could help you just figure out how to work that around. But yes, if you're trying to sell, Instagrams, I would say the selling platform for Instagram is definitely more for products. So for artists who have product photography, people who are maybe selling like t-shirts or merch, that's something that you can
Even
utilize.
thrift items and things like that.
Yeah. And then because when I was talking last week about sort of like owned versus the other types of media, your owned channels, they should be converting someplace. And the benefit of social media is that it's free. It's super easy to kind of like set up and get going. But as I mentioned last weekend, it could disappear. Like Instagram might not be forever. Same with Facebook. And we've seen kind of, I don't know if anyone remembers the MySpace age, but I'm kind of like at the very end of MySpace. But I did have one. And same with Tumblr, like Tumblr, MySpace, they've all kind of like fall into the wayside. And that kind of shows the evolution of social media. So it's really important to use these platforms while you have access to them, but at the same time, you want to be investing in yourself and your business, and making sure that you have a channel that you truly and actually own, rather than just putting content that you own onto someone else's platform.
So
That's
is it
your
better
website.
to have, is it better
Sorry,
to have your own website? Like I was thinking about setting up a website, or should I convert, forget about that and do Instagram, or do both, or what is the best approach?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of ways you can approach it. It really has to do with your workflow. So, Wendy, you do pottery, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it would depend if you are doing let's say you do a lot of custom pieces, and people are reaching out to you and they're like, Wendy, I have this idea and I want you to make it come to life. So if you were to I know. If you're
Actually, run the other way when people come with custom ideas. Go, sorry.
but
keep going.
for the sake of the example, let's imagine that that's what's happening to you. And that's how you do a lot of your work. So if you had an Instagram and you wanted to avoid having a website, then you could post your work on Instagram. People could get an idea of the kind of work that you produce. You're creating that brand recognition. You're creating a web presence. People send you a DM, or you could have a call to action button on a call to action, or CTA. That's when you go into a profile and you see like email or call, and you press the button and the email comes up, or a phone number comes up, so you can make that call. So on your business profile, you'd have your call to action. And then from there, people who want to commission you to do custom work can connect to your email directly. So these are some of the ways where social media can allow you to avoid or put off having a website. But again, I feel very strongly that it is important to start building a website presence, again, because I've had friends personally who they're not necessarily businesses that are selling things, but they're influencers who that's their full-time job is social media, mainly Instagram, sometimes YouTube. they build this huge following, and then all of a sudden one day they just can't log on to their Instagram and it's gone. Like, that's their whole job. So this is why I strongly encourage you, even if it's just a very simple website where, you know, you have an about page, you have a contact page, you know, it can really just be like 3 pages. You don't have to go and set up an e-commerce site if you don't want to. Just a place for you to have and send people to from the social media channels that you're building. Because at the end of the day, your social media is about building awareness, building brand awareness, and you want that to connect back to something that you have full and total control over, which is your website.
Okay, that's the only thing that you have full control over. Is
Yeah,
your
correct.
website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. And that's the hard part. I mean, and we, you as small businesses, you're not the only ones who are dealing with this. I mean, big, huge corporations are also in the same position. We're kind of pigeonholed into using social media, and it is a great resource, but we also have to understand its limitations and sort of the risks involved with putting all of our eggs into one basket, not ducks.
Yeah.
Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to continue on, but if you do have any other questions, please feel free to like write them down, and I can try to address them at the end if you don't have anywhere to go. Alrighty, everyone. So we're going to go through a document that's going to help you kind of decide how to manage your time when it comes to deciding what social media platforms to invest your time and your effort into. So this document is listed in the Google folder. It's called How to Assess Value and Effort for Social Media Channels. Now, I've made this document for you to print off, and you can fill it out on your own time. But you can also take some notes and try to fill it out with me if you have a pen or a pencil and a blank piece of paper. So the first thing you want to do is you want to think about your digital marketing focuses. So what are the things that you want to work on for your business? Maybe you're curious about the reaction to the behind the scenes of your business, you know, the human side, the things that make your business run. So like packaging, maybe the preparation that goes into finding the ingredients for a meal that you make, that kind of thing. You also want to show off your product and then also connect with your audience. I'd say those are like the two biggest things. And it's hard to find a platform that will do it all, but I'm gonna get to that. Next up would be customer service. You want to have a way to really like address issues that might come up, but then also, you know, engage with the audience, have that like really personal conversation of like, I'm so glad that you enjoyed my service and what I was able to bring to the table as a business owner. Next up is selling. This is the money part of things. And yeah, you're always going to have that money mindset, or at least a little bit of it. So over next to where we were just working on, you've got your channel options. So this is how you make that connection between the things you need to focus on in digital marketing sense, and then the channel that's going to help you out. So with behind the scenes and the human side, TikTok. We'll get to that, but definitely TikTok. That's going to be your one because it's going to allow you to really kind of show the behind the scenes of your business. The do it all platform, being able to sell your product, show your product, and then also connect with an audience, that's going to be Instagram. Customer service, I'm sure you can guess that's going to be email, because it allows you some time. With Instagram, customers can see when you've seen their message. Email allows you to kind of take the time, collect yourself, and then respond in a way that makes sense for you. And then selling, that's going to be your website. Your website is going to be really important, and I'm going to keep coming back to that, but yeah. So effort and value matrix prep. That's the matrix is the colorful square that you can see below. I'm going to show you how to fill that out. That is like the end game. That's gonna be your game plan of how to approach choosing a channel to focus on. So we're going to start off with TikTok. TikTok's a great platform. You'll learn it quickly, but there is a bit of learning curve. So I'm going to say the effort is a 3 and the value is a 3. I would like to say that it's higher, but I'm not going to say it's higher just because it can't guarantee that you're going to go viral. I mean, there's the potential is there if you're producing good content, but next up is Instagram. Effort is a 5 because there's so many moving parts.
And the value is a 4 only because it's a channel that could disappear just like any other social media platform. That being said, I really do think that Instagram is a great platform because you can engage, you can post, you can sell. What can't Instagram do? Next up is email. The effort is a 1, and I'm talking not about building an email list, but just responding to emails. This is the customer service side. The value is a 2. And then for web, this is the most important thing. The effort is a 4. It probably feels more like a 6 when you first start, but if you were to hire someone or if you were to just put in the effort for a month or 2 months, a website is forever. And then the value obviously is super high. So next up, what you do is you take those values and you input them into the matrix, and it kind of shows you exactly where things are going to land. So you can see I'm filling out, TikTok 3 out of 3. You've got effort, put it in the 3 category on both the Y and the X axis. Axle. Wow. Axle. And then fill out the rest of them. So Instagram, you can see it's definitely more on the right side of this matrix. So I'm going to talk about how to kind of look at this matrix and look at the data that you've created and how to move forward from it. So here we're going to look at the right side of the matrix. You're going to start there and you're going to move through it kind of as the arrow dictates. So you're going to move from the right side to the left side. And it's kind of up to you whether you, if two channels are super close together, it really depends on like what your priorities are, like what time of year it is. I mean, if it's the summertime for most of you, you're so busy, so you're going to want to choose something that's low effort with a high return. But it really depends. So the first lesson is that it's important to have strategy when choosing a channel. And as you can see, like there's obviously more thought into all of the channels, the TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, that kind of thing. But you are one person, so you want to choose your channels carefully, because burnout is a real thing, and it's unrealistic to expect that you as one person are going to be able to manage 5 social media platforms. It's just not going to happen. Number 2, you want to choose a channel that is low effort, high value, with a big return on investment. And I feel like that is something that you're always searching for as a small business owner. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing at any given time has a high value for your business. Number 3 is if you aren't sure which channel to choose, like I mentioned, think about the low effort, high value. So effort proposition, the value proposition, and then think about what your current state is in your business. Are you super busy? Do you have time to learn a new platform or learn a new technique with video editing? And if you don't, then you're going to want to choose something that's low effort, high value, and then move your way through those channels. So that's how to do a value effort proposition and to fill out that matrix, which will help you figure out how you're going to approach choosing a channel. And yeah, I think that this is a really valuable exercise to do if you're ever unsure of how to proceed with time management for social media. This is something to kind of return to and fill out and just kind of, pivot if you need to, or just recenter yourself, understanding your updated priorities.
Alrighty, so like I mentioned, that document is available for you to print off whenever you are unsure of how to proceed with your social media efforts. My suggestion would be to redo this exercise quarterly just to make sure that you are on the right track, putting time in where it's going to benefit you and your business and that you are aligned with your business goals. And hey, if you discover that you aren't exactly aligned the way you want, if you choose your platform correctly, hopefully you'll at least be learning and having some fun with your channel or channels of choice. Alrighty, so now that we know the ways of choosing a platform that makes sense, let's move into social media strategy. I know I say the word strategy a lot, but it's really the best way to communicate the need for preparedness when it comes to having an online presence that converts or inspires. When it comes to social media, there are key elements to consider that will help you simplify, streamline, and skyrocket your social media strategy. But skipping any of these details could make or break your efforts. You're going to want to think of each social media profile as a landing page, which is the first page you see whenever you enter or visit a website. So think homepage for your brand and your business. If you do this correctly, there's a good chance that a potential customer might first discover you on social media. Yay! So consistency, discoverability, clear messaging, quality content, sharing value, and building relationships are all things to consider when you're starting social media. If you're dedicated to growing your social media community, then you won't just be considering it. It's going to be your guiding light. First, does your social media handle, the descriptor that is your name while online, align with your business, your brand, and your personality? Think about the searchability factor. If you can secure a handle name that speaks to your business and your brand, the easier it will be for people to find you. It's even better if you can match all of your social channels to your website domain. For example, when you try to find me online, it's all connected to my first and my last name, which is part of my business name and thankfully will never change. It's relevant to my brand and easy to remember. Great for discoverability. The branding across your social media channels will create a positive or a negative first impression, and first impression counts. This is why consistency is paramount. A social media presence is not built overnight, unless you go viral, which then, okay, yeah, it might happen overnight for you, and that will be amazing. But if you don't go viral, you need to be consistent in the quality of content you post, the tone of your voice in your posts, and stay on theme. If you have a business profile, stick to things that are relevant to your business. Don't be posting about your second cousin's kid graduating unless you're a tutor and help to reach that milestone. The next step is to review the past few months of content published on your channels if you've already been posting on social media before the webinar. Are you posting on a regular basis or going days, weeks, or even months between posts? The more consistent your post schedule is, the more likely you are to scale your following and your engagement. Take note of which of your previous posts generated the most engagement, which is saves, likes, comments, shares. You can find a lot of those analytics in the analytics panel on a lot of these social media channels, and then create more of that content. My third tip is the absolute best approach to working smarter and not harder. And let me tell you, once you do this, you'll be so darn glad that you did. Life gets busy, and one of the main reasons people find it so hard to stay consistent on social media is because they simply don't have enough content prepared in advance and have to find inspiration and time every single day for their posts, which is just, it's crazy. It's not going to happen. This thought makes me feel stressed to my core. You want to plan ahead. I recommend creating a bulk content library, so make an album on your phone or a folder on your computer. It doesn't have to be fancy, with about 30 days worth of evergreen content. Evergreen content means content that is never going to not be relevant to your business. So evergreen content that shares value and speaks directly to your customer demographics, their needs, their pain points, and their interests. So like I mentioned, evergreen means that it is relevant anytime, forever, or at least for the foreseeable future. I'm looking at you, global pandemic. And it's content that is helpful or engaging always. It's great to have a good mix of long form and short form content, long form being a long caption, a video that has more effort or thought, a multi-photo or carousel post that is educational or a virtual event. And short form is sharing a beautiful photo with a quote, cute but not a lot of substance, a video that is very much in the moment, etc. And just a reminder, you can always outsource writers, graphic artists, or videographers to help you create a quality bulk library. This is part of what I'll be doing for my branding session when I take your photographs, the people who were able to sign up for that offering. Some of the assets that I've created in previous content libraries for myself, I've used for years and years in my business. The return on investment in a bulk content shoot upfront can be both mentally and financially rewarding. And that leads me to my fourth point. Do you have a methodology in place to track the growth, progress, and engagement of your community? You need to be monitoring your progress to make sure you are on the right track. And thankfully, all business or creator versions of Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok have pretty decent analytics that will allow you to measure your success in your growth. If you are a data whiz and want access to more detailed information, or simply feel like you've outgrown the free in-app analytics offered, a tool like Later, Preview, or Hootsuite can track your social media analytics and help you schedule posts in one place in advance, which is really fun to be able to do all of that stuff in advance. A lot of these analytic apps, they also offer a bunch of other fun things that can help make managing your social media a lot easier. So things like hashtag strategies, hashtag suggestions, caption prompts, etc. Like they're pretty comprehensive. So the scheduling part of this is, in my opinion, the most appealing of these apps. And if you do nothing else, I would strongly recommend building yourself a rainy day package of ready to go social media posts for when you aren't inspired or in a dry spell, as well as investing in a schedule app for your social media. I personally like Later because it's economical and it allows you to manage multiple social media channels on one subscription. My very last point is one that I really can't stress enough, and that's don't forget the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is the balance between promotional and non-promotional content on your social media. So 80% of your time on social media should be dedicated to engaging your community, building your brand personality, as well as your values. Getting in on those trending conversations, commenting on your followers' posts, maybe even popping onto a live stream to engage your audience in real time, posting stories of what's going on in your daily life, where the other 20% of the time should be dedicated to promoting your products and your services. So think of that 80% of work as kind of an amp up to allowing your consumers to buy into you as a brand before you do the 20%, which is promoting your actual business. If all of your time on your channel is spent promoting your business and nothing else, people will just stop listening. They'll unfollow you. So we want to focus less on conversion and more on producing that valuable shared experience that we talked so much about last time, nurturing your relationships with current followers, new leads, and industry influencers while watching your social media analytics. Back to that work smarter, not harder thing, let's talk about repurposed content and how it relates to content marketing. So, as you can imagine, generating content can be very time consuming. Your business already has so much going on already, and it's important to get savvy on how to repurpose your content. Reformatting and repurposing your content for different mediums will help you reach a larger audience, save time, which is amazing, and will keep your content marketing efforts consistent. Also, specific forms of content will resonate differently with each of your niche audience segments, if you remember our empathy maps from last time. So a new homeowner and a retired homeowner are going to want very different things, and they're probably going to be on different platforms. So as you roll out different formats and captions, you will start to see on each channel which content is working the best, what format is performing the best, and what length of content is creating the most engagement. So how do you repurpose content? Well, I have great news. There are so many creative ways to repurpose content, and I love taking content that's longer form, so like a blog post, and then creating micro content or bite-sized content out of it. For example, a long-form webinar like this one could be edited into a 10-minute segment. So I could extract a clip, turn it into a how-to tutorial or a shorter form video. I could then take that 10-minute clip, so going further, and then share it as a IGTV live, which is Instagram's way of allowing you to share longer form videos, and then take it one step further, and from that 10-minute clip, create 15 or 30-second videos to act as teasers to the longer form piece of content, which could then be posted on Instagram Reels or TikTok. And once I did that, I could repost those trailers on multiple channels, connecting people with my Instagram account lives or my website, where you could find out the next time that I'm hosting a webinar. So that's like a content plan for something like this event, and how I could extrapolate that content and then repurpose it in a whole bunch of ways that would be really beneficial to my business. So next up is the past content, content that you've posted before. I bet some of your older ideas for social media are still relevant today with a bit of creativity. So maybe you had a blog at one point, and you can still take those old blog posts and make them, stitch them together to make a guide. And that guide can now be used as a freebie, if you remember me talking about how to develop your email marketing list. So the freebie, or a lead magnet is what's it called in industry terms, on your website that people receive upon subscribing to your email list. As you might recall, you always want to provide something of value when asking something from your audience. That something being their email address. Creating that guide, or whatever else you decide to do that makes sense for your business, could be such a great tool to further attract people to actually opt in or subscribe to your email list, which we know is extremely beneficial for your business and has a lot of value. And again, you can repurpose that guide and stretch this content even further. So tease it out. For example, break that guide down into an email sequence that you feed to a specific subscriber list. The more value, the better. So another content tip is to take information from a survey, maybe a questionnaire or a Facebook or Instagram poll, and then put it into a visually appealing infographic. Infographics have become really popular when structured right, and the content speaks mainly to the millennial consumer group. I guess we're just like visual people. We like to see things. Because of the way in which it's formatted, millennials would actually much rather visually consume information through an infographic than sit there and read through an 800-word article or survey. I guess we have a short attention span. So now it's your turn. Think about how you can get creative and save time repurposing content for your audience versus creating content from scratch. Remember, think about giving bite-sized value in different content formats with different captions, variations for different channels. You don't want to, just copy and paste for every single channel. And doing this will absolutely extend your reach and save you a ton of time and help gain more overall traffic to your content as well as your business. So that was a lot of information. Let's stop here for some questions.
All right. What are you meaning about infographics? Are you talking more like just images? Is there something specific about that?
Yeah, so for a service-based business, for example, if you were to create an infographic, let's say someone is interested in coming to the area, they're planning a family vacation. Mm-hmm. So we've got to continually go back to that providing value to your client base. So for an infographic, basically what that means is it's an image that has both words and photos on it, or some kind of design. So for example, like the imagery that I used where I went through that value versus effort graph with the matrix, that would be like kind of considered an infographic if it was to be completed. On its own, it doesn't really have much value. So for using Pinterest, just referring to Anik, am I saying that correctly, Anik?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To your question is, if you were, let's say someone's coming to the area because they're planning a family vacation, and you have some kind of location for them to stay. So on your infographic, you might create something that is valuable for that particular customer. So maybe you'd put like a list of amazing restaurants to go to in the area, or amazing hikes to go on. And then that infographic links back to your website where they can be like, yeah, I want to go on that hike, or I want to visit that restaurant. Mm-hmm. Here's where you can stay while you do those things. And the thing with, there's a lot of really great online tutorials on how to really get deep into using Pinterest for your business. Yeah. The nice thing about Pinterest is that it, if you're not one to like really want to do that engaging, like that, the messaging back and forth and that communication piece, like you'd rather your social media experience for your business to be kind of like you go into your office or wherever you do your work and you know, put on your music and it's just you doing data and like creating stuff without having to do that sort of like customer management side. Pinterest is a really great option because you're not going to be doing the same amount of communicating back and forth. It'll probably lead to that communication, hopefully through your website or your Instagram. But yeah, it's going to be the effort that you're putting in on like a weekly basis to Pinterest is going to be uploading pictures, linking it back to your own channels, and then doing kind of like keyword research. Pinterest, a lot of these social media platforms now are a lot more like Google than is like obvious to the average user. So you want to be really cognizant of using keywords when you're posting anything, and that relates to hashtags and everything. So for this particular example, if you are going to create that infographic about eating or hiking while you're in the Fundy region, you'd probably want to put like hashtag Bay of Fundy, hashtag family vacation, hashtag, and later on in the webinar, I'll kind of go through some of the techniques for creating hashtags for yourself, which I think you'll find helpful if you are considering Pinterest, especially. It's Pinterest and Instagram mostly, but
yeah, well, Instagram and Facebook, I'm okay with. It's a Pinterest, it seems to be like lists of top things to do, places to go, trip packing lists, all that stuff, which is fine. I can do some, but how do I tie that back to my products and closing the sales? So I think it would be in, like you said, just leading them back to my own, like to my website and to, you know, Facebook and Instagram, I interact on a regular basis anyway. I've even dabbled into YouTube, but I don't monitoring it enough to really start a big conversation there because I don't want to miss anything. So the last thing I want to do is start something and not be there to catch it and respond. Like if I respond a week later, I might as well not have even done it. It's worse than doing nothing at all.
It's so true. And that's the thing. Like, that's why you'll notice in this webinar, like keep coming back to like, pick one or two and like really commit to it, because spreading yourself thin
yeah.
Wow, I'm like, well, spreading yourself thin amongst a bunch of different social media platforms is not going to be effective at all. And you'll find yourself stressed. You'll feel like you're not doing anything well. And the truth behind it is that you probably won't be, just because like I do this full time and I find managing more than 4 or 5 social media channels to be extremely overwhelming. And that is like, that's what I'm doing every day during the week. So since social media is kind of, it's a way for you to improve your full-time job. You don't want to create an additional full-time job for yourself,
right?
Especially because the monetary value of your social media platforms is going to be through your business, not through the channel itself. Unless you are interested in monetizing your social media platforms, which is a bigger conversation, and definitely not for like this webinar. But yeah, I mean, if you were to develop a large enough audience with enough engagement, you could certainly monetize your social channels.
Yeah, certainly not yet. And I mean, in terms of managing it, I've got, you know, the 2 extra people that can help that, especially when they're on seasonally, but they've got enough to do now. Like, I don't want to amp up the social media just for 6 months. And then in the winter, I need to continue that conversation. First of all, I like for it to be a consistent voice, you know, so I don't want it to be obvious that it's changing people in October, or dropping significantly. So whatever I do, I want to do it consistently year round. So I'm really cautious about that. I don't mind having the extra content in the summer with the campaigns, but I don't know. And this is where Pinterest, I think if you're saying is, I don't really have to, I can put some things out there and really just to kind of drive the business back to the website. I think that might be ideal.
Yeah. And the nice thing about Pinterest is that there's great analytics. You can like, you know, you can kind of test out what's working without putting a ton of effort into it. So you can like try an infographic. If you're selling a product, you can do like a product placement in a really like aesthetic way and then put that out there and see if people jump on it. You can try a whole bunch of different types of content, and Pinterest, like most social media platforms, is now also utilizing video. And it's so just show my phone. It's video that is in like a portrait mode versus landscape mode. A lot of these social media platforms now are moving more towards that portrait mode versus landscape. You'd see more landscape modes or landscape formatting on platforms like Instagram, or not Instagram, sorry, YouTube. But yeah, social media is moving more towards that like fast paced, like in the moment kind of raw video. So if you do enjoy the putting together videos, then getting yourself video content on Pinterest will be great. And one thing to kind of mention is that all of these social media platforms are constantly figuring out from like the business end for them. So like the people at Instagram, they're constantly trying to figure out how to stay relevant. It's honestly a shock to everyone that Facebook has managed to be still relevant like this many years after it came to be. And one of the reasons it's done that is because it's been constantly rolling out new features. So Facebook Marketplace, the ability to sell, business profiles, business studio, they're constantly trying to figure out how they can like leverage the people who are already using it and make the experience better for you. But from a small business standpoint, that can feel really cumbersome just because you just figured out the last thing and now they're adding something new. Yeah. So if you are on a certain platform, it is important to try your best to kind of stay up to date with the trends and the new features that they roll out, because generally those features, they'll boost them if you're using them because they want you to use them. So with Instagram, for example, not sure how many people here are already on Instagram, but Instagram used to be solely photos, and they've slowly rolled out more and more features and moved more into like a video sharing platform to try to compete with TikTok, because TikTok just exploded this year. So their response to TikTok is Reels, which is short 30-second videos in that portrait formatting. And the reach on those are insane. They're way better than any kind of like static post that's just a photo. So my advice, if you are investing into one platform or two platforms, is to try your best to stay up to date and use some of these new features as they roll out, because you'll notice that the analytics on them are way better than, your standard old fashioned, just like regular photos.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, like always, if you have a question, feel free to add it in the chat and I will respond to those as the lessons continue. Alrighty, so let's cover building out your social media profiles. Your website is your home online, but your business's profile pages on social media are your virtual storefronts, and they need to be attractive so people feel enticed to visit you at your website or your home. I'm going to walk you through the components of your social media profile needs and what you should think about to make yours appealing. Your profile will look somewhat different in the different social media platforms, but you'll always find three important components. The first is your identity. So your identity is your name and your imagery that represents your brand and your business. In some cases, like on Instagram or Pinterest, you just choose your profile picture. While in some cases like YouTube or Facebook, LinkedIn, you have to provide both your profile picture and then a larger background image. So my recommendation would be that you use your company or your brand logo for your profile picture. And that's how users know you, and that's how they recognize you. For that background picture, use a picture that captures who you are. So definitely don't stick with the default because it's super boring and it kind of makes your page feel incomplete. Make sure you use this opportunity to customize your page. Here are some ideas. So show your products, your company or your store inside, show your team or a related image. For instance, if you sell camping gear, show the great outdoors. You can change the background picture as often as you like, and you could add text to it, but if you do, keep it limited. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter have similar background picture formats, but the sizes are all slightly different. They like to keep it interesting for us. So tools like Canva or Adobe Spark can help you edit a picture so it's exactly right for the platform you plan to use it for. The next component of your profile page is your company or your brand information. And this is really important. So you want to make sure it's always accurate, because it's so annoying to look up hours for a business and then show up and it's closed. Things like your address, the category or industry you belong to, the description of what you do or sell, a link to your website if you have one, your physical address, your opening hours, etc. The information you can provide differs slightly from platform to platform, but this is where you give the people information they need about your company and how to support you. So keep it crisp, clear, updated. Provide the essential info people need to know who you are and where to find you. The third component of your profile is a call to action, or a CTA. This is the most important part. In most profiles, that's a custom button. So you want people to click on it so they can take the action you would like to see from them, and you can choose a bunch of them. So you might have learn more if you want people to visit your site, shop now if you want people to buy, or book now for reservations. Make sure you use the opportunity to add the call to action button to your profile. We have now reached the middle of our session today, so I'm going to pause and allow everyone to take a break for 10 minutes before we resume our learning. Please feel free to step away from your computer, do whatever you need to do to be comfortable for the rest of the session, and just enjoy a nature stream and let all this information soak into your brain. I'll see you in 10 minutes. I'm gonna put a timer on my phone for 10 minutes, and anyone who like needs to go pee, like feel free to go do that. If you need coffee, do your thing. But yeah, if I wasn't able to get to your question, or something came up, now would be a great time to chat, or if you want to share something with the group, I don't know, feel free.
Well, this was actually just making me think how I think I think there are some people on this call who have different bits of homework. Like when I look at like Nick, Sylvie, Wendy, you guys have potentially students or people helping you with your marketing. So I think that some of those branding conversations that we had last week, like even doing a powwow with some of the people who will be working on that stuff with you, and just meeting and talking about the tone of your posts and what you'd like that to be, would be such a handy thing. It's more like creating a style guide, because you all have like decent followings and profiles, and then you also just have an innate draw because of either the work you've done to date or your profile in the region. Like with Broadleaf, obviously gets a lot of attention. Cape and Rage is known as a good site as well. And so your homework's almost a little different, where I think some other members here, if you're just starting a business, Instagram or Facebook, I think like the bigger thing is almost just making the homework of getting familiar with the platforms and trying to put more content on there that aligns with what you want,
Yeah, 100%. There's going to be like a difference between kind of like establishing your business online, and then those of you who have already done the work and kind of have a basis and maybe like a following already, kind of optimizing that content so you can do even better. And, your Instagram or whatever you've decided to make your main platform, can sort of have a life of its own, and you can maybe do that exercise, a value versus effort matrix, and kind of see where your next move will be. Because if you're already like rocking Facebook or rocking Instagram and it's like doing its thing, and you're seeing, you're seeing the benefit in real time, then maybe it's time to move your efforts over into another side of your business. Like maybe you want to level up your website. Maybe you want to start a blog. You want to start producing different types of content. And when you start doing that, you can, like, let's say you decide to run a blog, for example, on your personal website. That's great because you've already got so much copy to use, and you've probably blog posts generally, the good ones at least, are multimedia. So there's photos in addition to the written word. So you can take those photos, you can take that copy, and then you can repurpose it for a bunch of different channels. So, you're sitting down every week and you're doing a blog post, and then you can kind of take bits and pieces of that content and then put it on your Facebook, put it on your your Instagram and the link back to your website. And in turn, the reward for all of that work, because it sounds like a lot, the reward for all of that work is that when people start Googling your website, they're going to be like, oh, this website is constantly updated. There's new content here. And Google is going to reward you on where you sit in those Google search results, because you've got, a website that is updated and being added to, and people are visiting it, so they know that it's valuable. So yes, 100%, Alex, you're so correct. There's going to be, depending on where your business is right now, whether it's like your business feels very much like in person right now, and you're just starting to kind of think about making it digital, the way that you take this webinar and then apply it to your business will be much different than a business who is much more established, whether that is in person or just online.
And I would say with some of you having met with you or dealt with, I know if there's a varying levels of like technological expertise too. It's like just using it is half the work, setting it up and just starting, I think, or even just taking some more photos if you do have a smartphone. I mean, you don't need to be creating professional photography at every moment. We live in a beautiful area. I think that's why a lot of people come visit us. So like, to me, Instagram has been such a big navigating tool, having moved here and trying to be a little bit of tourist and someone who's interested in tourism. Facebook has been critical, but yeah, like how do we keep content and generating content is work in itself. I think Tammy even is struggling, not only, how to create it, but where to put it. And I think a company profile on either of those platforms and updating it's really important.
Yeah, I've had people directed to my website and then I redirected them to Facebook because I can't manage the website stuff, but I can navigate the Facebook stuff easily. And the Facebook stuff is set up where I can have an automatic reply. I'm a one-person operation, so I don't have somebody to do all that stuff. Plus, I have to run the business and do the service. So it's just so overwhelming for sure. Finding a way to get that organized and set up is more than half the battle for me.
And for people who, if you've got a website set up and you're just like, holy heck, this is like too much, I am struggling with all this. And you're someone who doesn't feel comfortable, you think it's going to take you like months, maybe a year to be fully comfortable. Like that is where I would say, if you're struggling with like the amount of service, like you really like, it is important to you that you work on your marketing this year, that's a goal for you, then I would suggest outsourcing. There's a lot
I've been trying to outsource for like 6-7 years. I've had no luck finding the right people because I'm not technically savvy enough to know how to word the things I need help with, but pretty much just getting it all set up and organized so I can do it. It sounds like it's a service you might be able to help with, but before you, I've been looking for years. So this is fantastic to make a connection.
Yeah, 100%. And like, if anyone has, any questions of kind of how to like, even just how to like look for a designer, because, my services might not be what you're looking for. And that's totally okay, because working with your business is such a personal thing. But I can kind of coach you on how to like draft that email to someone and make sure that you're going to get your money's worth from a designer, from someone who's going to be working on your website, someone who's doing photography for you. Because you do really want to make sure that you are super aligned with what your goals are going to be. And I think especially the digital marketing webinar where we talked a lot about branding, I think hopefully that gave you kind of the language to communicate exactly what you need for your business, because when you're working with people like designers, people like me, it's that language piece. Not every designer is, super in tune with like the business side of things, and they won't be able to tease some of those details out of you. So it is really helpful to kind of have that background knowledge in your pocket so you can really communicate what your needs are as a business.
Well, I look forward to seeing the last half of that.
We're going to get it to you, Tammy.
Yeah, we'll get it to you.
Tammy literally had to go put out a fire.
Oh God. Oh no, that's not good. But yeah, like, and this is the other thing, like, I think it would be really fun, and maybe we can plan like obviously, I don't know if the ACTA would be interested in something like this, but once COVID isn't a thing, it would be really fun to kind of put together a workshop and all get in one room and kind of do a big like group brainstorm of like content that would make sense for each and everyone's business. Because I think there's a lot of using each other's ideas and kind of, okay, like let's talk about video content. Like Tammy, if you were to have a TikTok or an Instagram and you wanted to reels, or you're struggling with content, like I can really foresee you doing like hair tutorials, like things that you could do at home, or like how, if you like haven't, how to take care of your, share the sheet with this. Yes. I will definitely share the sheet about exercising, prioritizing effort and value. That'll be in the Google document. I just need to upload it after this is finished. So it will be there. Yeah, but just like things that you, Tammy, would love your customers to be doing in between when they see you. You can use social media as a way to kind of like get better clients, or like teach them how to, you know, if there's something that like you're like, oh, my clients, they always have like the worst roots, I don't know, I wish that they were better. You could teach people in short videos of how to like maintain their roots, so when they do come to see you, your work is like, there's less work for you to do, your customers are happy, they feel like the work that you do lasts longer. So yeah, I just think it'd be fun to kind of maybe all get together another time for an hour or so and kind of do like a group think of like, you know, things that we would love to hear from a hairdresser or someone who runs, you know, an Airbnb business, or the ranch, for example, like things that I would love, like, it would be so fun to see like the behind the scenes of how the horses, like what are their personalities, and, you know, things like that. So yeah, there's lots of fun, creative ways that you can kind of approach the content you make for your business. And sometimes it just takes an outsider to be like, I think this is really cool about your business, and I would love to know the like behind the scenes version. Stuff that you think is really mundane can actually be super engaging for people who don't get to do what you do every day. Alrighty, so my alarm just went off, so I'm going to get us back into the learning side of things. So the next section that we're going to go through is kind of, we're going to go through, actually, it's funny, Alex, that you said Destination New Brunswick, because I'm going to do an audit of their Instagram. So enjoy that. I am nice to them. I think their Instagram is like pretty awesome, but yeah, just kind of showing you the different things and how you can optimize your own channel to be in the best position for conversion.
Alrighty, so I'm going to pull up an Instagram that probably is one that everyone here has seen before if you are active on Instagram. So that is the Destination New Brunswick Instagram. I'm going to go through and kind of give you my thoughts on how this profile could be optimized. So first up, we're going to look at the profile picture. So the profile picture makes sense. It's their logo, and that is best practice. If you as a person are really connected to your business, so let's say it's service-based, or if you're a photographer, then I would maybe consider swapping this logo for your actual face, just so you can continue to connect it back to you. If you look at their handle, which is the thing that's up at the very top, Destination New Brunswick, when you see them interacting with you. So if we go to a post here, this one's out of office, but the little name is Destination New Brunswick. So that's a really good handle for them. This is considered your Instagram handle. And it is a good one because I don't know what else we would call it. Destination New Brunswick, maybe Discover New Brunswick. I've seen that happen, that done a few different times from various tourism industry business profiles. So that's all good. Good so far. They're doing a good job. So next up, you'll see that the handle where it says Destination New Brunswick, and this is a verified profile. So that means that Instagram sees it as like a legitimate business. They recognize that there's a lot of following. As you can see, they've got almost 43,000 followers. you'll notice that underneath the profile picture, it says New Brunswick, Canada, and it's different than Destination New Brunswick. This is one way you can optimize your Instagram bio by appealing to the fact that Instagram has made changes so that it's more like a search engine. So if you were to go into the search button and we were to type in Destination New Brunswick, we can see here that it pops up. But at the same time, if we were to put in Brunswick, typing issues, so if we were to just put Brunswick, okay, so it's not showing up. If we put Canada, okay, so even though Destination NB doesn't have Brunswick or Canada in their name at all, their subname does. So not their handle, but their actual like name on Instagram. And I can go in and kind of show you what that looks like. But so that's why they're doing that. And you can do that too for your business. You'll notice that on our little outpost, we've done the same. So our handle is Our Little Outpost, but in our actual name it says Outpost Cabin in New Brunswick, and that's to optimize for searching. So if someone was to type in the search engine on Instagram here, so on that little search profile, if someone was to do that, then they would see our handle come up, even though, because Our Little Outpost doesn't have a lot of keywords in it, but Cabin in New Brunswick does, which is why we use it in our name. So I'm going to go back to Destination New Brunswick, kind of continue through our audit. So next up is their actual bio. It says official Instagram of Tourism New Brunswick, or MB. Share your pics with Explore, #Explore New Brunswick. And then it says the same thing in French. Now, unless you are a tourism industry and you know that your demographic is like evenly split between two languages, I would not recommend putting two languages in your bio. It's going to hurt your search engine capabilities. So that's something to consider. But it's up to you to know your audience. If you have a lot of you appeal to a French audience, then definitely make sure that your profiles are bilingual. One thing that I do really like about this is that there is a call to action, so a CTA, and that is the share your pics with #Explore New Brunswick. So this profile really, as you can see if you scroll through, they put a little camera emoji, and then it tags the person who has actually taken the photo. And I noticed that Destination New Brunswick, it's a lot of that. So here's another photo. They did not take this photo. They're taking people's photos that they like and they're reposting, and that their entire platform is based around this, sort of the celebration of New Brunswick, which is great. So we're going to go back. So I really like that call to action. I'm going to show Our Little Outpost thing to kind of give you a different idea of how to do this. So if you come to our profile, our Little Outpost, immediately right away, you know that we're in New Brunswick. Recently discovered that there's New Brunswick in New Jersey, so that can be kind of confusing, but I think from the content you can tell we're not in Jersey here. So I basically created bullet points. It's friendly because I'm using emojis, and that's up to you to determine whether or not your business is something that, that if emojis and colorfulness in your language, if that is part of your brand. But for us, it definitely is. So we've got Madeline and Mitchell being my partner, and our cabin in the woods. Homemaking near the ocean on 225 acres of Acadian forest. A simpler life in nature is possible. So just from that simple bio, it's not a lot of words. So I've really optimized down the amount of words that I'm using, because your bio actually, it won't allow you to choose more than that. As you can see, we can go into our settings here. We can go into our settings. We can edit the profile. As you can see, you can see down in the bottom here, there's an @ symbol, a hashtag, and then a number. So as I type more, it disappears. So now I wouldn't be able to add any more things. So that gives you an idea of like the back end of Instagram. So anyways, immediately upon coming to our profile, you can get an idea of the kind of content that we're going to be posting, and that's helping convert followers to us. So right away, if you're someone who maybe dreams of having a cabin, you like outdoors, you know that we're someone that you can follow. I mean, the content speaks for itself, but yeah. And then it kind of shows like exactly where we are, sort of, and then a simpler life in nature is possible. And that's kind of our version of a call to action. So our whole purpose of having this Instagram is to show people, whether you live in the city, whether you're dreaming of something different for your life, you know that you can do it simpler. There's going to be some adjustments, but you can make your dream life happen. So going back to Destination New Brunswick, the next thing that we're going to look at is sort of whatever they have in their, they've got a link here, and it is it's their link in bio, and they're using Later. I already mentioned that platform before. Later is a social media management app that can help you schedule your online presence, but this is a way for Destination New Brunswick to link back to their owned channels. So their website, the blogs that they're doing, this is a really good tactic. So they're probably, if they have something that they want to show people, they'll be posting a photo and then they'll say link in bio, and then they'll update where that link goes to. This is great. I have mixed thoughts about using, additional services to do a link in bio, because if you do own a website, it's actually better to direct to that website, because that can help improve your search engine optimization. It's showing Google, teaching Google that people are coming to your website, and there's valuable content there. So next up will be these. These are called highlights. And highlights, there's a few different ways people decide to do them. Immediately upon coming to this profile, I noticed the highlights first, I think. I mean, the content is beautiful. It's really colorful. It's cohesive, which is surprising because they're not producing this content themselves. So that just shows that you can utilize content that you haven't created yourself. That being said, you absolutely need to ask for permission, and you need to credit the artist. So Destination New Brunswick, they always ask, they always confirm with you that they can repost your image, and then they always credit. And that is so important if you're going to be sharing posts. Even if someone has purchased your product, they're posting about your product, reach out to them. Not only are you being kind by crediting that artist, you are also you're protecting yourself against legal action, and you're starting to build that community by reaching out and making that personal connection. So next up, we're going to look at these highlights. So immediately, some of the first things that I would recommend for Destination New Brunswick is to put a cover on these highlights, just to make them look a little bit more beautiful. There's a few different ways you can do that. You can choose emblems. So you'll notice that, like under this one, for example, it's got a little tent and a tree. And they're doing sort of places to go in that highlight. Highlights are a combination of past stories. So Destination New Brunswick has a story. To look at stories, you click on the profile, and then you can see the things they've posted that day. A story is only live for 24 hours. So I'm just scrolling through what they've posted in the last 24 hours. Okay. And once your story has expired, you can add it to a highlight. So my suggestion for Destination New Brunswick would be to look at their content that they're producing, to look at their brand palette, and then assign colors for each of these highlights. And if they like the whole, campy vibe, the whole, this is like a location pin on the next two, then we've got cameras, puppies, to design or hire a freelancer or take a hand of it at doing it themselves to put some designs behind those colors, and then also use words to describe your highlights. So I'm gonna go back to our Instagram, our little outpost Instagram. We do it a bit differently. So because it's hard to really optimize your stories to make sure they're 100% consistent. I mean, it's easier to do this with in-feed posts, obviously, but stories are definitely meant to be more of like on the go sort of thing. So our stories aren't always going to look the same, and as a result, I'm not using photos for our highlight covers. But I do think that this looks a lot more cohesive than what Destination New Brunswick has, and also from an accessibility standpoint, you can actually see right away what the contents of those highlights are. So we've got Explore New Brunswick. We love New Brunswick here. Cabin Eats, Cabin Life, Junebug, which is our cat, St. John, About Us, our outpost, Yard Work, Cabin Renos. So you can scroll through and you can see exactly what's going to be on that highlight. So let's look at June. Let's see what she was up to. Oh, she is so cute. So this is June when she was a kitten, and it was 34 weeks ago that we posted this. Oh, little kitties. Big yawns. So cute. So anyways, this is a way for our followers to see content that was posted like weeks and weeks and weeks ago. You can see that those posts were made, all the way back in like 34 weeks ago. So I like writing exactly what is the contents of those highlights, because it allows a viewer who might have accessibility needs to know right away what it is, and it's also just nicer for people in general. That is my opinion, because when I look at that camping emoji, I just don't know exactly what that means. Like, is it camping? Is it about traveling? Who knows? So that would be my one suggestion. And then when it comes to feeds, you can see there are different sections you can click on. So this little thing means tagged images. Oh, look, that's me with some friends at a hotel in Moncton. Next up, we've got lives. So they've done a few things called the ballet sessions. Lives are longer form videos. They're often not portrait mode. They're in landscape, and they have a higher production value. This is Instagram's, way to modify and make sure that people can post all sorts of content on their platform and have it in one place. Next up, we've got Reels. Reels are super, super popular right now. As you can see, Instagram has modified their platform so that you can go right into Reels right away. Let me go back to Destination New Brunswick. So this looks interesting. I want to click on this. So this is actually a repost of a TikTok, and it's in French, but it's talking about maple. What about this one? This is blueberries. Mushrooms, flowers, and blueberries. So it's talking about foraging in New Brunswick, which is really sweet. We love to do that on our property too. So Destination New Brunswick just shares a lot of really wholesome, like rah New Brunswick content, which we are so here for. So that's where Reels are. Reels allows you to put a cover photo on your videos. You can either select a screen capture from the video that you post, or you can, put one on top. On our profile, we pretty much always choose to put something on top. This was our recent video that we posted. And Reels are different than, a static post, just because it's got a lot of moving parts. It's got music, it's got video. You also have to do a caption. You have to consider your hashtags, and it's a bit different for each one. So that's something to consider. But as you can see, we like to make sure that our Reels is super cohesive. So we always upload a separate image to create a cover, so that our Reels page just kind of replicates what you're going to see on our actual in-feed static posts. So I'm just going to go through a little bit and show you some of the differences between, Instagram features. So this post right here, what you'll notice is that there in the top right-hand corner, there's like a little square, and it looks like there's 2 squares. That means it's a carousel post. So that means that for this one, there's 3 posts right here. And people can scroll through. It's recommended that you try on Instagram to do a wide variety of different types of content. So carousels, an in-feed post. In-feed just means, it's one post, that's it. As well as those reels that we were talking about. So you want to make sure you're doing a bit of everything. And that's why when we did the value proposition, the value and effort matrix, I ranked Instagram as something that requires a lot of effort, because it truly does. But the rewards are good if you can get yourself there. So we'll move back to Destination New Brunswick. So that's really that sort of brings us to the end of our audit. As you can see, Destination New Brunswick, they've decided to include their reels in their in-feed posts or on their actual profile, rather than having them all in just like this tucked away neatly behind the reels category. And that just comes down to a personal choice, and if you're interested in having those videos on your feed or tucked away, like I mentioned. So yeah, that is an audit on Instagram. I hope that you found that really really relevant and valuable. The last thing that I do want to mention is that you'll see that right here, you'll see that I'm confirmed unfollowing them. If you're ever wondering why you're not seeing someone's post on Instagram, you can always add them to your close friends. And that's probably going to boost their content to the top of your news feed. We can send them a message, or we can give them a call. And I'm not going to do that, but you can. So that's some of the options that they have for on their main page. The last thing is, if you click this little down button, you're going to see accounts that Instagram has considered, like if you're interested in Destination New Brunswick, you're probably interested in these ones as well. So that's a good way to kind of like figure out who people are suggesting for your Instagram. So again, that brings me to the end of an Instagram audit. I hope you found that really helpful. Back to our regular scheduled programming.
Your content on social media should be organized by 3 to 5 content pillars. I like to use inspirational, educational, engaging, entertaining, and promotional. Keeping in mind that like 80-20. But you might want or need to choose different ones depending on your business. Again, it's all about creating a shared value experience. Also known as buckets, pillars represent relevant topics for your target audience. Each of your pillars could be composed of different types of content, such as blog posts, videos, images, or even something as simple as a tweet. The benefits of coming up with specific content pillars are threefold for your business and for your brands and your small business. So the first step is organization. So instead of just creating content on the fly, distinct content buckets or pillars help you create a calendar that covers the necessary topics for your brand. Next step is targeting. So defined pillars serve as a guide for crafting specific content for specific people. Hint, so you don't ignore your target audience. The third type is ideation. So coming up with fresh ideas is often cited as a huge pain for brands, and I kind of feel that. It can be really taxing to come up with something new and exciting every single week. So content pillars automatically hone in on those relevant topics for you. If you're like me, inspiration isn't something you can force, and you might notice that your creativity spikes during different times of the day or the week. To make sure I don't lose track of a good idea for a post, I keep a note on my phone that holds all my ideas, which I then categorize into my content pillars. If you're struggling to come up with ideas for your social media platforms, use the platform, consume some content, look at some photos, look at videos, and let those creative juices start to flow. Make sure you never copy an idea verbatim, but if you like a trend, put your own twist on it so that it highlights what you do. Remember, your first 2 tries at anything new on social media will not be perfect. It takes time to really to really make it look great. So try your best to get outside that perfectionist mindset. That's something that I personally struggle with. With platforms that are always evolving, even if you get to that like expert level, you're not going to be there for long, sadly, because Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they are rolling out new features all the time, and you're going to have to adapt to those new features. So the best advice I have is to make Google your best friend, stay current, and don't be afraid to try something new and flex those creative muscles. Alrighty, so let's talk about building relationships with your audience on social media. Many people believe that social media speeds up the relationship building process, and that's true to a point. Lasting relationships are built on trust, and just like in real life, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So as they say, actions speak louder than words, and your behavior on social media platforms sets the tone for how your customers will behave with you. So all relationships are based on give and take, something called reciprocal behavior. So if I give you something, you'll probably give me something in return. A simple example of this is holding the door open for a person, and chances are they will say thank you, and in Canadian style, they'll probably try to open the next door for you in repayment. It'll just be like this thank you back and forth. Instead of pouncing on your customers the moment they land on your webpage or your social media account, try to ease them into it. Try to watch their behavior, see when they're online, see if they're commenting, if they like your stuff, if they're leaving emojis in your DMs, and then engage with them. Unlike many marketing channels, social media is a two-way street, which means you can actually chat with a customer or a potential customer, and they can respond to you directly. You don't want the first thing to come out of your mouth to be like this contrived marketing message. So how do you build those relationships? Here are 3 tips that I've sort of come up with over the years that I've been doing this. The first is help, don't sell. So kind of how we were talking about last time about how you kind of have to approach your customers from a friendship perspective. You want to put your customer first. Otherwise, they feel like they're a commodity. On social media, that means thanking them for a tweet or reposting some of their content rather than just constantly broadcasting your own. Tip 2 is hard for many businesses to understand because yes, you're there to make a profit, but don't ever use a hard sell on social media. It's gonna come and bite you in the butt. So be careful with the pop-ups on your site. Don't scare people away when they first arrive. Before you post, ask yourself, are you a helper or a huckster? And if you're the latter, tone down on the schmoozing. For the first tip, do something extra, for the third tip, do something extra for your customers to show them how much you care. On social media, you can do that by resharing a post that a client shared on your Instagram stories, which are viewable for 24 hours before they disappear. Maybe shouting them out for inspiring you and thanking them for their support. Relationships that go beyond a transaction can turn your customers into ambassadors, and that takes an investment of your energy. And like dating, it takes a lot of finesse. So remember, social media may be fast moving, but long-lasting relationships, they take time, and so does building an audience that is engaged and connected. So next up, we're gonna talk about hashtags. Hashtags are most frequently used on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, although some people use them on Facebook and Pinterest too. A hashtag is a number sign, so like that, followed by a word or a series of words without spaces or punctuation, and they help categorize social media content. So think of social media kind of as a database, and those hashtags are organizing them into content buckets or those pillars potentially. No matter what social platform your small business is active on, using hashtags can easily improve the visibility of your content online. On top of this, hashtagging also helps to encourage more people to talk openly about your brand online, raises brand awareness, and can even help improve the overall reputation of your company. To use hashtags effectively, especially when trying to grow your brand's online presence, you'll need to understand more about them. In fact, when you're just randomly smashing the keyboard, plugging hashtags into your posts haphazardly, then you're sadly pretty much just wasting your time. So if you're using the right hashtags at the right time, you'll be able to easily increase your post reach as well as increasing the chances of having your content go viral, potentially attracting hundreds and maybe even thousands of new customers. While small business marketers swear by using at least 20 or 30, which is the maximum allowed on Instagram, others believe that 2 to 3 highly relevant hashtags are more than enough. It's hard to say what is best for everyone because everyone has their own opinion, and Instagram doesn't necessarily have like a go-to, here's how many hashtags to use. But there is no penalty for using all 30 hashtags, so I try to leverage them, and I found that I've had good success with that approach. So the key is to break your hashtags down into 3 categories in 3 ways. So the first way is by the popularity of a hashtag. Some hashtags have billions or millions of posts categorized beneath them, like hashtag love, hashtag eating, hashtag cat. It's unlikely that anyone will see your post, and if they do, it will take seconds for it to be lost among the noise. This is why it's important to have variety in your hashtags. So some are huge, 500,000 to 1 million posts. Some are mid-sized, so 100,000 to 250,000. And then you've got the smaller hashtag groups that only have 10 to 50,000 posts, maybe even less than that. I've had great success with using hashtag groups that have only 15,000 posts because they're super active. You can check how many people are using a hashtag by searching hashtag blank in the search bar on Instagram. And if you can't see this information on your phone, try the desktop version of Instagram. Once you're on Instagram, you'll notice that they're constantly like switching the game on you. So you kind of have to like pivot quickly. Next up is to separate your hashtags by topic. So I like to categorize by topics related to my personal brand. So if I'm using myself as an example, that would be digital designer, web designer, hashtag brand design, etc. And then topics related to the content of my post. So what the picture is actually featuring or the video is featuring. So maybe I'm showing a new logo design that I did. So hashtag logo design, hashtag brand package, hashtag WIP, which is slang for work in progress, hashtag personal brand photography. And then also location-based hashtags. So hashtag New Brunswick, hashtag Canada, Moncton, hashtag St. John, hashtag Atlanta, Canada, and so on. This hashtag strategy can be leveraged on pretty much every website that allows you to hashtag. So now that you've got a good idea of how to use social media strategically, let's go over the stuff that you absolutely never want to do. Okay, so up next we've got the do's and the don'ts. So, do. Separate business and personal accounts. When building a brand, it helps to keep your personal and professional pages separate on social media. By being consistent with the types of content you share via your business profile, your clients know which account to follow. You can also avoid spamming friends and family that follow you for personal updates with like business stuff. For example, a link to your latest blog post should come from your business page, and a video of your dog in the backyard should probably come from your personal page. There are definitely exceptions to this rule. Some people, their personal brand is like very much related to who they are. So if you're not sure, send me an email and we can talk about it. So do share thoughtfully. What you post becomes a representation of you and your business. So be proud of who you are and what you represent as a business while staying aware of the image you're crafting as a result of the content you share. So don't share something that would be offensive. Don't share something that isn't relevant to your business. Do post regularly. This boils down to the big question: how often should you engage with your online community? This can vary depending on your business and your industry, but a good rule of thumb is at least once or twice a week. Do prioritize your networks. It may be tempting to try every new social media platform that sprouts up, but it's dangerous to spread yourself too thin. To start, focus on the social networks where you know your customers are. Providing quality content via these outlets is worth your time and effort, no matter your industry. Do interact with your audience. Providing helpful content is nice, but it's not all social media has to offer. So interacting with your followers is also key. Having those conversations, like making those connections, being emotional. See a question or a comment on Instagram that you can answer, send that person a friendly reply. Maybe you're looking for recommendations. Ask your Facebook audience. Did someone mention you, tag you, retweet you, or share a post? Give them a quick like and a comment. Maybe a follow if you like what they're putting out into the internet universe. You want to build connections online just like you would in person. It really is social media. It's about being social and networking. Don't be needy. Don't constantly ask your followers to please engage or beg your Facebook friends to like your page every week. It's perfectly acceptable to let your followers on personal accounts know that you have business pages and what they can expect if they follow you, but you need to be strategic. You can still accomplish those tasks, but you're better off earning them with helpful, share-worthy content rather than constantly sending people from your personal channels over to your business ones. Don't be a spammer. So retweeting, liking, commenting, posting, and sharing is great, but keep everything in moderation. Don't follow a bunch of people one day hoping that they'll follow you back only to unfollow them the next day. This is baiting and it's a bad practice and actually get you banned from Instagram. And if you go unnoticed by the powers that be at Instagram headquarters, it'll still kill your engagement and create a following that doesn't care about your content. So don't go on liking or commenting sprees that aren't authentic or provide value. It won't help. Don't post promotional content in places where self-promotion is not allowed. It'll probably get you banned. And also, that's not the impression that you want to leave. Do handle criticism with grace. So should you run into an issue that causes a flurry of criticism on social media, this is like the social media manager's worst nightmare. The worst thing you can do is to try and hide from it or delete those things. People will come. People get really aggressive on social media when someone is trying to like beat around the bush and kind of like avoid that confrontation. So try and respond the best that you can and don't become defensive. An overreaction to criticism can quickly go viral in a bad way, and you don't want that. So work to remedy the issue in a kind and considerate way and let those who cared about it online know when it's resolved. Don't complain. All businesses see their ups and their downs, but complaining about customer interactions or when a business transaction doesn't go as planned, it doesn't need to be part of your social media strategy. Remember, you're trying to distinguish yourself from your competitors, and this can be a way to stand out in a less than ideal way. So if potential customers see how you talk about others, they may think twice about wanting to do business with you. And on a similar note, don't complain when or if your online engagement is bad. It's rare that you will post something and get absolutely 0 likes. And complaining that a post didn't perform well tells the people who did like it that they don't count. It's diminishing, and if even 4 people went out of their way today to tell you that they liked your work in person, you'd probably be thrilled. Likes and follows are considered vanity metrics these days, and they don't determine the quality of your channel or your content. Do match your content to the platform. Each social media site has its own intended purpose and audience. So understanding this and matching your content and tone to the proper social media outlet is imperative for success. Don't write in all caps. Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Stop with the all caps, people. Not only are they visually alarming, but they also communicate that you're angry, that you're upset, or you're just plain aggressive. Reserve this style of writing for occasional single word emphasis, like when something is really important. Always be aware of the tone you're setting with your words. Do location tag other businesses. Social media is all about sharing. So this means supporting favorite restaurants, businesses, and other stops while you're out and about. So be sure to add your location to your Instagram photo or your Facebook status so people know where you were and, more importantly, how they can get there. This is an all-around good move to support other business owners and raise your brand awareness within the community, because you'll often find that businesses like to help each other rise up, and they'll share your post if you tag them in it. Don't share the exact same message again and again. Put yourself in the place of your followers and think about that shared value experience. Would you want to read the same message from people or pages you follow every day? It's lazy and in poor taste to take the same social post and continue to post it over and over again on the same networks. If you want to revisit previous content, get creative with your delivery. Try rewording it or using a new image rather than reposting the same thing. Don't share without researching first. Social media networks make it super easy to share content from other accounts, but you need to be careful. With the tidal wave of content and information coming at you at all times, it's easy to forget that some of this content comes from questionable sources or even bots. Sharing content is often seen as endorsement of that content and of the user who posted it. So you want to be careful what you share, because whatever you're sharing is kind of a reflection of your personal brand. Do share without expectations. Consistency and patience will pay off. Putting time and effort into social media doesn't mean you're going to see big results right away. You might, and that's going to be awesome for you. But similar to starting your business, your reach will probably be slow at first. It's a time for you to learn to understand who your audience is, how to do it the right way. And then you'll start to make connections, you'll build a reputation, and you'll develop a strategy. Sometimes slower is better. The turtle wins the race. Do give credit where it is due. So stay on the right side of social media etiquette by attributing the author or the photographer when you share an interesting article or a gorgeous image. Take the time to find the handle or the account responsible for the original post and include it in your post. Destination New Brunswick has a great process for this, and you could definitely follow their lead on it. Don't obsess about the numbers. This is such a negative hole to go down. It's important to remember that brand awareness and growing your network is a long-term effort. We know that it's easy to get caught up in the numbers game, but try not to. While having lots of followers can be good, it really is about quality over quantity. So if you have 1,000 Instagram followers and half of them are spam accounts, your posts are being delivered to an audience that doesn't really exist. So stress less about your follower count and concentrate on providing engaging content for your audience, and try to have fun as you go. Now we are going to tackle some basics of making content at home and how you can leverage the technology you probably already have access to. First up, let's talk about video. In addition to a recent preference for video over photo content for social media, businesses are also being forced to create their own video content from home to avoid the personal contact and sharing of equipment that comes with traditional video production. So, how can you create successful content for video advertising and marketing at home? It's kind of daunting, but just a few short years ago, it would have been unimaginable to think that you could have the power to produce and distribute video content from a device that fits into the palm of your hand. And that is how rapidly video technology has advanced. Many people view video production as something with vans full of cameras and tripods, microphones, tape, and all the staff that comes with like a TV commercial. However, today's consumer devices offer the ability to produce video content that is actually quite similar to the expensive production equipment that was considered state of the art just a couple of decades ago. So the latest cell phones, tablets, and other mobile devices come standard with the kind of technology and features that can produce professional quality or near professional quality video content. Accessories like tripods, a small light, or a phone leaned up against a windowsill help to amp up the quality of video that these modern technical marvels can produce. So a GoPro or an action camera can be useful for creating content that lives on social media. Action cameras create dynamic, mesmerizing images that are stabilized, which will engage viewers and draw them into your content. The next option for creating content would be a digital single lens reflex or a DSLR camera. There's also mirrorless options, which actually I love. They're cheaper, they're smaller, they weigh less. But these cameras are essentially upgraded digital cameras with the ability to shoot sharp, clean videos using a digital imaging sensor. They are definitely an investment in both time and money. They take time to learn, and they are just as expensive as a brand new phone. But they can be great for improving your content both on social media and your website. Smartphones have excellent sound quality, but if you're worried, you can optimize a video with no sound and just put music over top, or enhance existing sound by wearing headphones or earbuds with a microphone. If you're worried about how it looks to have headphones on or cords coming from your ears, wireless earbuds offer a cleaner and a more streamlined look. And budget permitting, you could invest in a lavalier mic like I am wearing right now, and it'll provide a more professional sound and give you some more options. I got this one for about $40 on Amazon 3 years ago, and it's still working pretty good. So even with a mic, it's best to pick a quiet, controlled environment for filming any speaking points. Good light is crucial to quality video, and if you ignore everything else about working with equipment you already have, just use this tip and you'll be in a good place. So simply pointing a desk lamp or another house light at yourself or your subject will often create hot spots and harsh lighting. So using a nearby wall or a piece of white cardboard will often soften that light, and natural light looks great on camera. That's my favorite type of light to use. But Mother Nature controls when and how long sunlight will last, so if you want to take your lighting up to another level, clamp and LED lights for home video productions are more accessible and affordable than ever. That's what I'm using to light myself today. I've got a light box here and an LED light just off to my left. So if you're worried about all of the moving parts of creating video at home, you can always turn to stock footage, and I've included some great stock footage websites in the resource packet, along with websites where you can get stock photos, that kind of thing. Lighting is also an extremely important component of getting high quality images on your phone, and for the sake of time, I've included a bunch of YouTube tutorials by other creatives, not myself, that do a great job of breaking down exactly how you can use your phone's camera capabilities to its full potential. As you can imagine, you'll find those links in the resource packet. What you'll also find there is a link to a blog post from Hootsuite, a social media management company for larger businesses. And I found this blog post and just figured this does it better than I could. So it goes over 30 content ideas for social media. This is a good place to start if you're struggling to come up with content ideas for your business. In addition to that, and wow, you've got a lot of goodies, I've also shared with you a Google Sheet document that will allow you to plan all your social media posts out for an entire month. This is called a content calendar, and it can help relieve the stress of not knowing what to post, where to post it, and what to caption on the days where you don't have a lot of social media mojo. So, folks, that brings me to the end of the social media training. That was a lot to take in. So to summarize, when approaching social media for your business, make sure you are creating content that is consistent, valuable, and relates to one of the content pillars you lay out for yourself. Don't take social media too seriously. Take a step back if you're feeling burnt out. A social media following is not worth your mental health. Our breakout session today is what I'm going to call Pain Point Pep Talk, which we sort of we got to last week. And this is a chance for us to collaborate live on some of the questions that might have come up in the last section of our seminar, as well as go over some of the pain points you might have already experienced running social media for your business. This is a chance for you to share some of the challenges you've had in your business, and I'm going to do my best to share some advice on how to overcome that challenge. Many of us will be facing the exact same hurdles, and there's a lot of camaraderie in going through the exact same thing together. So thank you so much for sticking with me over the last 2 weekends of intense online learning. I'm so happy I got a chance to connect with you all and share some insights on how to become confident online as a small business owner. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
This was very insightful. Thank you so much.
You're very
Yes.
welcome. You're very welcome.
It was a lot of content and a lot of information. Thank you so very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that it was helpful. Yeah, these are such huge topics. I feel like it's kind of like how I mentioned. I mean, we could all go to university for 4 years about these topics and then still feel like there's stuff to learn. So
Still be behind.
yeah, that's why it feels like a lot of material. So if you are a little bit overwhelmed after that, you're probably not alone. I felt even a little overwhelmed, like putting it all together. I was like, holy heck, this is so much. So yeah, feel free to like revisit, once it's uploaded, revisit the webinar as much as you need. And, yeah, if you have any questions, like later on, you can always send me an email.
Perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to meet you in person. Well, I guess we briefly met the other day at the meeting, but meet you in person when you do the photography. So that's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I gotta go. I hear a car in the driveway, so people are coming in the gallery. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Does anyone else want to stay and chat, or are we all kind of tapped out? That was a lot of learning. So if you have any questions, like I said, I'm like committed. I will stay to 3 and we can chat. But if not, then I'll let you all get back to your Saturday.
Ruth, I think you have a great Instagram potential with your alpacas. I want to see the Farm Life Ranch with an Instagram account.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Ruth, you totally could. I have a friend who posted about going to an alpaca farm on TikTok, and it received 2 million views. So yeah, you could and she's local to New Brunswick. She went to another, it was like an alpaca experience in New Brunswick, but yeah, she's local. So you could definitely be Instagram or TikTok famous if you wanted to be.
Did you go into social media followers and how that translate into business money?
I can, yeah. So it's it depends. Like I think for most of you, you're gonna see the like monetary benefit of social media in just more like a larger customer base or higher paying customers. For like a more service-based business, sort of how I mentioned last week. If you're starting to have to wait list, if you're like struggling under the amount of clients that you have, you're like booking months and months in advance. It depends on where you're at, but my thought process around that is that's a good sign to start raising your prices. So that's one way how social media can start to help you make more money. The other side of it is obviously it's the same with like a product-based business. Like if you're constantly selling out, either I guess for people who are crafters, it's hard to like hire more people because it's really like it's your hands making the thing that makes it so special. So again, raise your prices so you can start making more money. But from a follower base, it depends if you want to kind of get into the influencer realm. And that's where people start making their money off of social media in a real way without having really a service or a product. That the influencing is really what is the money side of things. So brands would pay influencers to promote a product or an experience or a service. And then that business owner pays the influencer to get that promotion. So it's another technique for advertising.
I think the big thing, Tammy, with most people is it comes down to, if you want to make money off having a following on social media, there needs to be a call to action. So social media is one thing, like it's an opportunity to brand yourself, it's an opportunity to put yourself out there. But if you don't have a really easy way for them to then, if they've gone to see you and now they have a call to action, come and see you on this date, you're holding this event, or a link to where they can book with you. Like for you, you want people to book with you. That's what you want. So you either want to be sharing times that you have available, or you want to make it very easy for them to book with you on top of sharing amazing content about the work that you do.
Right.
Someone like Ponderosa or someone doing more accommodations, you guys want to share about the beauty of the site that you have. And then your call to action is your booking link for your Airbnb or for visits. Like Ruth, if you want to do the ranch thing, Airbnb does experiences where people don't have to have a night accommodation, but you could have 5 people come and join you for the day, and you set them up with a picnic on the back of the property and the alpacas, and they don't have to come in your house during COVID.
Yeah, and you don't have to do the same like turnover and stuff. There's lots of ways that like, and that's one thing that that I think that kind of if we could all just like get into a room and kind of help each other see those perspectives that when we're so close to our own businesses and so involved, it's kind of hard to sometimes come up with those ideas, and another person can kind of look at your business and be like, that's so cool, and you like they get it right away. So I would love to do like that kind of exercise, and maybe I can talk to Michelle about offering something like that even online in the following weeks or months. But totally. And I think the other thing that that could really help with kind of like the making money aspect, if you're not using those called actions, which you totally should, is kind of having that personality and making sure that you're customers. So let's say I'm going to use you, Tammy, as another example. Let's say you get someone into your salon, you work with them, you cut their hair, you do their hair. They enjoy the experience, and you mention, oh, like I've got an Instagram, you should follow me. And they follow you. That's your opportunity to now make sure that client, like they liked your haircut, assumably. But that's your chance for you to make sure that client comes back to you again. So in the days between, or the weeks between the first time they visit you and potentially the next time they need a haircut or some kind of hair service, they're following on social media, and they're seeing more of you, more of your personality, more of your daily life than what they could possibly experience in the 40 minutes that they might spend with you. And it's that connection, like that personal, it's like kind of making a friend. And so they feel like this sense of responsibility to come back to you, because they've known what you've been up to the last like few days. They feel this like intimate connection. And that's what, for services that are more like essential, like a haircut, it's something that I don't know how many haircuts each person might get in their lifetime, but it is something that, you are going to get more returning customers. And it obviously it's a bit different for, someone who has like a tourism experience, because you're probably not going to get someone more than once in a summer. Let's say you might not even get someone more than once in a series of 5 years.
But they could share those experiences. You also want to create experiences when you look online and you see people, like, again, like the llama thing, or going for a picnic somewhere. It's like these types of experiences, if you can create them, not only that, in your own imagery, in your own marketing experiences, because when people go, they use their phones. This generation takes pictures. So if I stay at Florentine Manor and I'm in a beautiful room, I'm going to take pictures of it and I'm going to put it on the internet. That's also a thing that's happening. People want that. So you have to almost show that a little bit in your own marketing. That's why Destination NB, it's all these beautiful people out in nature, or it's someone enjoying a beautiful glass of wine in a bar. So people want to take those photos of themselves too now. And by providing services that and I think New Brunswick is a really great opportunity, because people are so proud of where they've come from. They're so proud of where they live. And so, especially with coming up to this summer, where we're kind of staring down the barrel of another summer where we're probably not going to get a lot of people from out of province, and maybe, like, fingers crossed, the Atlantic bubble still happens, but let's just say that it doesn't. People are super proud of where they come from. They're excited to share, like, look, like, Ruth, if I was to visit you, I'd be like, these alpacas like lived right down the road for me. It's so cute. Like, and, I would love to be able to tag you in the stuff that we do on Instagram, so yeah, and that's the thing. People want to help other small businesses. And there are people that I follow on social media who have made social media platforms like out of supporting small businesses in New Brunswick. So it's a great tactic to start, tagging those people and letting them know that you exist, that you are online, that there is a presence, and that they can come to you for collaborations, or if you sell a product, they're putting together a local basket and they can come to you because they know that you're local. Cool. Okay. Well, I think that sort of brings us to the end. I think everyone's kind of slowly leaving. So I'll be uploading everything to online, and Alex, I can send out the email, or you can send out the email. I think everyone's kind of gotten that first email from you. So I might just send you all the links, and then you can do the follow-up. And obviously I'll include my email address. So if you have any questions and you want to reach out to me directly, feel free to do that. But yeah, it was a pleasure to get to spend the last 2 Saturdays with you all, and I'm really excited to meet most of you in for the personal branding sessions. And I'll definitely be reaching out in the next few days, potentially the next few weeks, for some of you who've already messaged me that you want to wait till things are green and pretty, about figuring out when that session should happen. So yeah, it was lovely to meet all of you again, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Thanks. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks again. Thanks, Alex, for helping me do that. Okay. Talk soon. Bye.